You're expected to have a mastery over everything you're minding. These glasses give me that power. Cave on. I can look around every corner. I can see every nook and cranny.
Have you ever noticed how in Hollywood movies all the villains are played by Brits?
Maybe we just sound right.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mary.
We're more focused, more precise.
We're always one step ahead.
With a certain style, an eye for detail.
And we're obsessed by power. Stiff upper lip is key.
And we all drive Jaguars.
How did you do that?
Liuan Say, legendary gambler. He bets on everything, anything, huge cash bets all the time.
How did you know who he was gonna pick?
We told him to. We've been telling him all day. From the moment he left his hotel room, we've been priming him, programming his subconscious. He's been seeing the number 55 all day long. On the elevator. In the lobby. Even the stick pin on the doormat. Not only that, we loaded his route from the hotel to the stadium. He looks out the window, primers are everywhere. Now he doesn't see it, but he does. There's no getting around it. He even sees far. Suggestions are everywhere, from the number of flowers in a vase.
That is genius.
Yeah, and it's not only what he sees, it's what he hears. The Mandarin word for 5 is woo. There are 124 woo-woos in sympathy for the devil. Now he's not registering it, but it's all there. So when he picks up those binoculars, looks out on the field, sees a familiar face with the number 55 on his jersey, some little voice in the back of his mind says, that's it. And he thinks it's intuition, and he picks.
Do you want me to write it down?
And you, being in the dark, was the convincer. We call that the little blind mouse.
How did you know who he was gonna pick?
We told him to. We've been telling him all day. From the moment he left his hotel room, we've been priming him, programming his subconscious. He's been seeing the number 55 all day long. On the elevator. In the lobby. Even the stick pin on the doormat. Not only that, we loaded his route from the hotel to the stadium. He looks out the window, primers are everywhere. Now he doesn't see it, but he does. There's no getting around it. He even sees far. Suggestions are everywhere, from the number of flowers in a vase.
That is genius.
Yeah, and it's not only what he sees, it's what he hears. The Mandarin word for 5 is woo. There are 124 woo-woos in sympathy for the devil. Now he's not registering it, but it's all there. So when he picks up those binoculars, looks out on the field, sees a familiar face with the number 55 on his jersey, some little voice in the back of his mind says, that's it. And he thinks it's intuition, and he picks.
Do you want me to write it down?
And you, being in the dark, was the convincer. We call that the little blind mouse.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all shooting some b-ball outside of the school when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." I whistled for a cab and when it came near, the license plate said fresh and it had dice in the mirror. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought, man, forget it, yo, home's the Bel Air. I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8 and I yelled to the cabbie, "Yo home, smell you later." Looked at my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel Air.
They're going to rebel, declare themselves God, and we have no need of a God because we are our own gods. That really came home for me when I looked at this event that I became aware of off of watching a Fox News presentation called the Invictus Games.
So let's start with the word fox. Every letter in the alphabet has a value. So let's look at the letter F. Obviously, F is 6. Now O is 60, and X is 600. Flip the values over and you've got yourself a 600, a 60, and a 6. 666, the number of the beast being the devil. Now we got Fox News, Fox Sports, 20th Century Fox.
You must have been so worried in my absence.
Let me think about that. No.
On October 2nd, Tom Welling joins the cast of Lucifer.
I'm surprised it's taken you this long.
Are you ready?
I'd like to show you who I really am. I am the devil.
Oh my God.
Really? You have to bring him up now.
Where do we get the name Invictus from, Chris?
From the sun god, Sol Invictus.
And when is that birthday, Sol Invictus, celebrated?
December 25th.
So here we got the sun worshippers, and everybody's heard for a long time that, we've been doing the worshippers of the moon versus the worshippers of the sun. We discussed CERN being over the temple of the sun with the Apollyon, and in Jerusalem and things with the temples of the moon. There's those who worship the sun, those who worship the moon, and a lot of this stuff goes back to sun worship. Invictus Games became very interesting to me because I wasn't really aware of it. I'm not making any allusions to being disrespectful in any which ways to wounded warriors, and that's not even the topic that I'm discussing. I'm discussing the symbolism that all the men and women who serve in the armed forces and are injured and putting their lives back together, we applaud them and support them in every way we can. I just found that this one was connected to the royal family through Prince Harry, and it's a very interesting game. It's basically to support wounded warriors and give them their own athletic events and build community and support around wounded soldiers coming back home. And what did you think the first time that you looked at this show, Chris?
It really bothered me for a few things. I mean, we know that Prince Harry claims that he is an inheritor of the royalties, of the royal family, and I do believe, in my opinion, that's the bloodline of Cain. But it really bothered me because it says, I am. Jesus is I am. He is the light of the world. Jesus is the great I am. And so when I keep seeing this, I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul, it really bothered me because Jesus should be the captain of everybody's soul, not yourself. So when I saw I am, I thought of the apotheosis that you're talking about.
You know what? Sometimes what you leave out of a story is even more interesting than what you leave in. That happened when we were in Oxford, Maryland. Learned that the pride of that old town was one Robert Morris Jr., the financier of the American Revolution. Years ago, we used to go down to the county library to get a picture of a bird like that, but now we just use the internet. That's where I found this picture here. Now, the caption said it was a shot of the Greek god Mercury handing a bag of loot to Robert Morris, the financier of the American Revolution. Well, that's just a tiny part of a much bigger picture called the apotheosis of Washington. Now, apotheosis is a Greek word that means to make divine. In other words, this painting shows George Washington becoming a god. Now, I never knew that happened. But there it is for all to see, painted under the most famous dome in the whole country, maybe the whole world, the United States Capitol. Now, the most interesting part of this particular heaven are the folks that live in it. Now you'd expect to see Moses and Abraham and Ezekiel and that crowd hanging around, but not a single fella from the Bible's up there. Now Minerva, the Roman goddess of crafts and wisdom, is shown delivering an electrical generator and batteries and a printing press to Benjamin Franklin, Samuel Morse, and Robert Fulton. And Neptune, the Roman sea god, and Venus, the goddess of love, are shown helping to lay the transatlantic telegraph cable. I'll bet you they were a big help. Now there's some other gods, but not a single prophet, apostle, or even a lower archangel in the whole 4,500 square feet. All I know is what I read on the internet, but you hear a lot of talk these days about the religious beliefs of our founding fathers. Now those boys may have been as devout as saints. We'll never know. One thing's for sure, you'd never tell by looking at Capitol Dome. Charles Paparella, WBOC News.
So this is just a message that the elite are bringing out on a big scale because Obama's husband, Michelle, is promoting this with Prince Harry.
God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So again, it's very clear that I am is used as the creation God. And here we got the Invictus Games using I am in an interesting shape also. How is the Invictus logo put together?
Well, you can see in the video on Fox News that Prince Harry, he's holding up a pyramid, and it has a black flag in it that says Invictus Games. Well, that kind of matches the capstone, because the star of Anu, that is the 8-pointed star, it's together with Venus. This star represents the ogdoad, and the ogdoad represents the capstone. And this represents Jupiter, Amon, and it's really interesting because of the year of Jubilees that the Pope called out of nowhere. So the Pope has this Jubilees year, which the Bennu bird is Thoth and represents the capstone. So the Bennu bird represents the ogdoad and the capstone. So all of this goes together with predictive programming that we're seeing. And just like the Sleepy Hollow show, it had the capstone on top of a fireplace, and then you have the 13 stars on the flag. You have the Star of Solomon and the star that the Pope wears on his clothing. And then there is the star Sirius that represents this 8-pointed star and the black sun. Also in that picture that we're seeing with the pyramid on the fireplace in this Sleepy Hollow, you see the harp of Apollo. We know Madonna played that harp on stage as she was dressed as the Baphomet. And then in the same picture, Sleepy Hollow, there is also the star of Sirius on the back of this guy's head.
Also, the Invictus Games, the logo itself, the I am, is in yellow, which is symbolic of the sun god, but it's also structured within a pyramid. When you see the actual flag, the blackness of the flag is symbolic of also the black sun. So it's like, I am the black sun god, almost. It's like saying that what the Nazis worshipped was the black sun. And so here we got this capstone being prominently displayed. This is what we call being hidden in plain sight in my book. This is what you're looking at. We're looking at ritual without the involvement of the majority of the people there. This is clearly messaging going on. Again, I'm not trying to denigrate the event or the people who are wounded. I just can't sit by and not point out this is just so strange because it says I am unconquered basically in yellow. And who's unconquered? The black sun god is unconquered. Well, Lucifer is unconquered, you know.
Yeah, and even in text it says that their sun god, Jupiter, is the unconquered sun. Mm-hmm. And doesn't the car say unconquered on it that they drive up on?
Yes, it says unconquered, and it has a logo on the front of it. It's a cat with the red sun behind it. And the Bible talks always about lions, about the lion going around seeing who he can devour, other than the Lion of Judah, which is Jesus. The symbolism just gets ridiculous to me. So I'm watching the Invictus Games, and they're out front of Buckingham Palace with Prince Harry. Again, it has nothing to do with the participants. I'm just looking at the ritual. This just caught me as a very strange event when they have this car drive up right here with the trident on there. The I am is a trident. If you look at it, there's 3 points there. I am unconquered with the trident. And here comes one of the gals with a red outfit. And we know the woman who wears red in the Bible. So the woman in red's riding the beast is my interpretation here. Here we come with the capstone with the I am trident there and the black sun coming down some portal. And I think Anthony and Chris and I have talked about coming down a portal, right? Coming coming through something. The capstone is coming through something.
The door of Jubilees.
Yeah, the door of Jubilees.
Two figures on either side, praying beside a pyramid with the sun directly above it.
He's right. It was in front of us the whole time.
General West, Jackson has identified the seventh symbol.
Go ahead.
Programming seventh symbol into computer.
Chevron 1 is holding. Chevron 1 is locked in place.
Power output at 23%.
Chevron 2 is holding. Engage. Chevron 2 is locked in place.
Chevron 7 is locked in place.
Why else do this? Why else ride up in a vehicle and bring the capstone through with the woman in red? The I am there also represents the eye of Lucifer in the capstone on the dollar bill that you're seeing there.
Well, I have some good news for you, space fans. NASA's capstone mission to the moon has phoned home. If you've never heard of capstone, check out the videos on capstone in the description below. Capstone, or the Cislunar Autonomous Positioning System, Technology Operations and Navigation Experiment mission, launched successfully on a Rocket Lab Electron rocket on the 28th of June from the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. Well, after 6 days of orbit-raising burns by the Lunar Photon third stage, Capstone deployed successfully on the 4th of July at 7:18 UTC time, sending it on a ballistic lunar transfer trajectory towards the moon. For the next 11 hours, the team at Advanced Space, who operate the spacecraft for NASA, had been performing commissioning activities on the spacecraft without issues. But shortly after that, the spacecraft stopped communicating. This was the start of a nerve-wracking 24 hours for the mission operators and their partners, and for many of you space fans. Yesterday, we put out a video on whether we indeed have lost Capstone. Well, today I'm happy to report that Capstone has finally phoned home. On the 6th of July at approximately 7:26 a.m. Mountain Time or 1:26 p.m. UTC time, the operations team began receiving a signal from Capstone. They were able to receive telemetry data just under an hour later.
Look what he brought up here all by himself. What's he need this stuff for? E.T., can you say that? Can you say E.T.? E.T.
E.T. E.T. E.T. E.T. Be good.
Be good. I taught him that too. You should give him his dignity. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Phone.
Phone? He said phone? He said phone? Can't you understand English? He said phone.
Home.
You're right. That's E.T.'s home.
E.T. Home phone.
E.T. phone home.
They were able to confirm that the location of the spacecraft was consistent with predictions after the initial acquisition from deployment. And based on telemetry data, the team is confident that the spacecraft is indeed healthy and is functioning as expected. It performed well autonomously during the time it lost contact with Earth, maintaining battery charge. It also performed a momentum desaturation maneuver to remove excess spin from the reaction wheels that keep the spacecraft stable.
I'm saying the symbolism of what you're watching. The sun color of the yellow. And they come through the gates, right? There's our gates. They came through the gates.
The gates of Ishtar.
Yeah, it makes me think of CERN. That's what it makes me think of.
Delivery.
Mysterious glowing. Object arrives on front doorstep. Messenger not sighted. What could you be? An alien artifact? Bring off life? Oh, you're a box. Very handsome. Commanding. Where did you come from? Now, if my measurements are correct,
So it comes out of the portal. It's just such a strange event when I was just witnessing it. I'm just going, this is just so strange. And then they set this thing down here, and it's the capstone. That's about it for this narration. I'm just saying it just looks really ridiculous having Prince Harry involved with this, knowing what the royals are connected to the beast system. And just to see this sitting there like that is a little much for me.
Yes, we have the right tool for the job. Things are not always as they appear on the surface.
A villain is only as good, or should I say bad, as the technology at his fingertips. That's where I come in. Just like in the movies, behind every cunning plan, there's a brilliant mind.
Because in this profession, it really pays to have confidence in your equipment. To be able to depend on every nut, every bolt.
You see, all this isn't for its own sake. Every mastermind needs a button that wreaks havoc.
We're ready.
hell yeah. Been looking forward to this.
Modulating frequencies now.
It's time. Let's light it up.
Are you ready, Neville? Pre-check. Check. Check. Okay, Neville.
In T-minus 3, 2, 1. Ready to launch. Hit the button.
Here we go.
World domination is an unfortunate side effect of this one. A supercharged engine helps for instant power. We like some luxury with our performance. If you need to get away at light speed, you can't beat an aluminium chassis. The devil is in the detail. With power like this comes great opportunity. No, not yet, my pretty one. Oh yes, there's method to our madness. Plan your escape.
It's working! It's working!
Nationwide 5G is live.
Yeah. And we're just getting started.
Wait until they see what's next.
This could destroy the space-time continuum. I don't belong here. My friend, where we're going, we don't need. Actually, I have no idea what we'll need.
They're insane. And the more money you give them, the more money you throw at them, the more funding they have, the more insane they become. Who do you think is the driving force behind all this? The prince and power of the air? Possibly. The prince, power of the air. I remember years ago when I was working at Radio Shack. Years ago. I remember them switching over from analog to digital.
Okay.
What?
The 80s called. They want their store back.
It's time for a new Radio Shack. Come see what's possible when we do things together.
And I said, Lord, what's this new technology? What's this all about? And the Lord showed me. The Holy Spirit brought that scripture to me. Satan is the prince and power of the air. His plan is to get every bit of information into the digital domain. He doesn't want it to be analog, inside of a wire. He wants everything wireless. He wants everything in the cloud so he can manipulate it. These are wicked, evil people that are working with. In fact, we can't call them people anymore because even the Bible calls them brute beasts. That's right. They're not human anymore. Those that are going to worship the beast, they're not human. They're brute beasts. And they're going to worship the beast.